All right, Sean Zattel here with the former heavyweight champion of the world.
That's wrong. That's not a good introduction.
What's that? Two-time
Oh, there we
heavyweight
go.
champion
There
of the
we
world.
go.
That's right.
That's official.
Right. That's right. But no, I'm distinguishing in the beginning because with Four Bell era, did he have? I'm saying you were the man, the heavyweight champion of the world, not
Right.
just former two-time WBC. Nothing. You were the former heavyweight champion of the world. But you did have the WBC title 2 separate times. So two-time heavyweight champion of the world, my man Hasim.
And I knocked Cory Sanders out for the WBU title. So, but they don't give me credit for that. But that was one of the toughest fights I ever had. And he came on and knocked Klitschko out. So,
Yep.
so I mean, he definitely was a legitimate heavyweight puncher and contender in my time. So I actually won my first world title taking his belt.
I'm not gonna lie, Rock. I had forgot you knocked out Cory Sanders. He was really fast and explosive
strong.
and dangerous. Yeah, he even hurt Vitaly too early in the
Yeah,
fight.
he did.
Before,
He did. After he knocked out his little brother.
right. So he was a problem. Yeah.
A big problem.
From what was that? South Africa or something
Yep.
like that. Yeah.
South Africa.
He was a problem. So, but Big Rock, man, we had a great episode with you today. I just had to get some knowledge from you about the heavyweight division. Let's start with Deontay Wilder, man. At the end, you said him and Fury, they ruined each other in those 3 fights.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the amount of shots they both gave and received was so damaging. Their career, I think they just, beat the careers out of each other, in my opinion. I don't think either one of them would be the same. And I think had they never fought each other, both of them would still be reigning at a much higher level right now.
What level do you still see Deontay at after beating Derek Chisora?
Man, I think, contender, French contender. I think he's French contender. I think it's several guys, that can beat him in the top 10. Mm-hmm. Several.
On the show I was talking about to my eyes, the torque and the speed and how that used to help generate the explosiveness and the snap on that great right hand he's had. And it, to me, not looking quite the same. Do you see it that way too, or is the right hand just as powerful as ever?
I don't think it's definitely not just as powerful as ever. And we had 2 fights to show that it's not as powerful. The fight he fought, he just fought one fight, and the referee stopped the fight in the 9th round against a journeyman guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then with Chisora, I think if Deontay still would have had the torque on and the timing on them right hands like he had once before, both of those guys would have been knocked out. And neither one of them was.
So, okay, to that point, you know the history of the division very well. How do you look at Deontay historically? Because he defended the WBC title 10 times, but if we're to go to the law of lineal champion and that kind of thing, you are still the last lineal American heavyweight champion to back in 2001. But again, he defended the title 10 times, knocked out guys like Luis Ortiz, Chris Arreola, came within a second of knocking out Fury in the first and third fight. How do you look at his place in history?
Well, I mean, for me, my rule of thumb is, how many Hall of Famers did you beat?
I think 0, if we're going by that, right?
I'm just saying, like, it's hard for me to put you in a conversation of the greatest fighters if you don't have not one Hall of Famer on your resume. It's just hard for me.
Okay, well, part 2 to that then. What about as all-time punchers? Because I remember growing up, Ernie Shavers never won the heavyweight title. He did knock out Ken Norton, who's a Hall of Famer. But
right.
Growing up, it was talked about and he was respected as an all-time great puncher. Not an all-time great heavyweight, but guys like him and Ron Lyle. David Tua is another great puncher.
I think Deontay definitely could punch. I think he could punch in any era. I just don't think he would have had the same results in terms of winning, and if he came up with me in my era. I don't think because as good as he can punch, I just think that's all he had. I don't believe the skills was there to be able to to a Riddick Bowe, a Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield. I just don't think that one punch would be enough to just dethrone any of those guys.
But what about from just the pure power perspective? Is he an all-time great in that one area?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know because, like, who's the best person he knocked out? Ortiz?
Probably, yeah.
What did Ortiz do? Like, who you knock out that was really a great? What great fighter did you knock out?
I mean, but if you take Ken Norton off Ernie Shaver's record, then it's the same kind of deal. He didn't, and he's considered.
But now you got to go back. But Ken Norton was a world champion, so
yeah.
And some people say Ken Norton beat Ali every time they fought.
Mm-hmm.
Some people argue that. So I'm saying you can't say if. You know what I'm saying? If you take him out, he knocked out a Hall of Famer. So he got a Hall of Fame on his resume. But Deontay can punch in any era. He definitely can punch. If he hit anybody clean, he could definitely hurt him and get him out in any era. But I just feel like it was a little tougher back then. The competition was a little tougher. I definitely don't think you get no 8-year run with my crop at all.
Well, he one fight that could still happen for him would be the Joshua fight. I remember you told Joshua he quoted you when he beat Andy Ruiz in the rematch. So nice, I had to do it twice. He got that.
So nice, I had to do it twice. That's right.
How would that fight go down now? Joshua's not in his best days anymore either.
Yeah, I think that's a pick'em fight. I just think Joshua's is their time is gone. It's time for a new crop to come. Unless they want to just do one, get out of there, something like that. But it's no raining. It's no raining. The rains are over. Them two, just because it's been brewing for so long, they could get on. Plus, he looked at your girl, Deontay, so they might need to do that. So I think either one of them could win. I don't think either one of them power is like it used to be, and I think both of them has been questionable about how they're receiving these punches lately. So anything can happen. I don't see a clear winner. Like, I can't pick a clear winner of that fight. Either one of them could win.
When they were at the peak of their powers, who did you think was the better fighter?
I thought,
or who would win head to head?
I thought Anthony was the better boxer. I thought Deontay was the better puncher. So, but Anthony could punch also. So I thought that Deontay I thought if they fought 3 times, it'd be a different winner every time. It might be a knockout, it might be a decision, it might be a knockout. It could go either way. And in any fight, all 3 fights could be a different winner. So I still feel that way. Like, if they fight 3 times, it could be a different winner every time. But I would probably favor Anthony at this point.
At this point?
Yes.
Gotcha. I know you're still talking about a comeback and getting Kenny Porter, getting you out on the track to test what you can still do. But when does a fighter know that they have to step away from the sport?
Well, I mean, when you're doing it for so long, it's get monotonous and you keep doing the same thing over and over and over. Then your body really starts responding to this stuff, right? And it happened to me. It was time to go. I couldn't get weight off of me. I couldn't do this. I could run 6 miles and lose probably like 0.4 pounds. And it was just like, man, this is metabolism, just slow down. everything just works against you, right? And that's why you see guys coming in weighing so much, because it just stops working. So I've rested so long. I've been resting. And then I just start working out and start doing things to trick my metabolism and get it back working. And now I feel like in every aspect of my life, I feel like a 25-year-old. I go in the gym, I outwork everybody in the gym, every single person. So I don't know, and I'm trying to get anybody to prove to me that, that, all right, that was a nice thought, but you ain't ready. And I say, you know what, good. I'm glad I ain't had to get in there and get it shown to me that way. But nobody can show me, and nobody can dissuade me yet.